Hey, Disney Cruisers, and welcome to the DCL community. We are so excited tonight to be talking about Disney's home port, if you will, of Port Canaveral. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca. I am your host and admin of the DCL community, and we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and really get excited about those Disney cruises, take some of the stress away from the planning process. Now, as you guys are coming in, let us know where you're watching from so we can say hi, but then also let us know if you have a cruise planned for Port Canaveral or if you're thinking about planning a cruise. I know itineraries are opening up this week. But you guys know me. I'm Rebecca. Crissi, do you want to introduce yourself as people are coming in?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Crissi O'Kane from Academy Travel, one of the recommended agents with our fabulous community. I love this group so much. We touch base once a month in these videos, but we're always active in our community, helping each other plan amazing trips. And today I'm talking all about Port Canaveral. And if you guys have watched my videos before, you guys know how it's going to end with a bonus about Crissi's personal favorites with Port Canaveral, because it is a wonderful port to sail out of. And I know that you guys have a lot of questions too about other ports and what's different about Port Canaveral. So we'll touch on that a little bit too.
Oh, I love it. Well, if you guys have any questions for Crissi, know that her planning services are totally free for you to use. So if you're just feeling overwhelmed with what to plan, where to go, and all the details about your Disney cruise or any cruise for that matter, that's her link up on screen, and I'll make sure to put it in the comments as well. Crissi is one of the most responsive humans on this planet, so reach out to her with any questions that you guys might have. People from Canada, California watch it. Oh, I love it. Port Canaveral and Fort Lauderdale.
Fun.
Love that. Sounds like I need to join your family, Valentina. I love it.
We're in Denver. Wow, all over.
Going to Denver tomorrow. I'll see you there. Awesome. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started. Crissi has some awesome slides that she's put together just so you guys have great things to reference back to. But if you guys have any questions about Port Canaveral, go ahead, put those in the comments now so that we can make sure to get through to them as we're going through tonight. So, Crissi, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, you take it away.
Absolutely. All righty.
Awesome. And I just put the link, just so everyone knows, in the comments for Crissi's page. So if you have any questions, if there's something that you just want to talk through that's a little bit more personal, just reach out to her and she is here to help. And I'll go ahead and add this guy. Awesome. I love all the bright colors.
Oh, this is probably my brightest presentation yet. I don't know. I was in a mood, you guys. I was absolutely in a bright color mood when I put this one together. So welcome to Port Canaveral 101. So for those of you that don't know, Disney does sail year round from Port Canaveral, and Port Canaveral is the closest cruise port to the city of Orlando and to the Walt Disney World theme parks. It's not technically in Orlando. That's our next slide. It's kind of like, where is it? That was one of my questions this morning. It's like, where is Port Canaveral? So it's the Orlando cruise port, but it is actually, it's coastal because it's a cruise port. And part of the magic is that it is closest to Disney. And I will say that this is an experience that Disney does far better than any other cruise line that I have personally experienced in Port Canaveral. They have, if you've ever studied Disney training and Disney Institute for Service. Their quality customer service is the perfect intersection of people, programs, and place. And they have just made the perfect people, the perfect programs, and the perfect place for Port Canaveral. The system is phenomenal. So we're going to get into all of that. How do you get there? So our first kind of step of getting to Port Canaveral is which airport to fly into if you are flying. If you're driving, amazing. You can drive straight there. It's over here on the coast. Cruise Terminal 8 is the Disney terminal at Port Canaveral. There are other cruise lines that sail out of Port Canaveral. And the main airport most people fly into is Orlando International Airport, which for some reason is abbreviated Orlando MCO. This airport is about 45 minutes from Port Canaveral. But some clients will also, or some guests, I'm sorry, will also fly into Orlando Sanford Airport, abbreviated SFB. That is where almost all of my local clients here in Roanoke, Virginia fly into. Totally okay to fly into there. It looks a lot further away, but it's actually about 15 minutes further away. It's about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes, depending on traffic, further, an hour from Port Canaveral, not an hour further, about an hour from Port Canaveral. And then, of course, once you get to the airport, your next step is going to be getting from the airport to the cruise ship. And this is where Disney really has a phenomenal system. You can book private ground transfers through Disney Cruise Line. These are $39 per person each way, so it's $78 round trip. And this is an amazing part of people's experience. They love getting on the big Disney Cruise Line bus. It's like, again, something that Disney does better than any cruise line. It's set up straight from the airport or from your hotel, which we'll get into in a minute. I know there's a lot of questions about hotels. Another option is to use Lyft and Uber. And this can be really great for parties of just like 2 adults. You don't need any car seats. You know where you're going. There's tons of drivers in Florida. You almost never have to wait long for a driver, but you do need to make sure that you order, you plan ahead, know that it's either a 45-minute drive from the airport or an hour and a half from Stanford. Know how long of a drive it's going to be so that you have enough time. There's also private car services, like Away We Go is the one that I use the most. That you'll have your own private car, schedule pickup, transfer all of your luggage for you, all of that too. And then there's also non-Disney shuttle services. GoPort is a phenomenal service. They kind of bundle your hotel and your shuttle all in one little package, or you could book just shuttles. And then also, depending on where you stay, if you book one of the hotels near the port, there may be a shuttle offered by that hotel. It may or may not have an additional charge. And then there's also the option of self-driving and parking. And this one is a new thing that I'm seeing more often lately. Of course, you can drive from your starting destination. So you can drive straight to the port. But I'm also having a lot of clients rent cars from the airport now, especially clients that are like military affiliated or government jobs where you have like a special discounted rate with a lot of rental car companies. Sometimes that can be cheaper just because it is 45 minutes. You're paying per person if you're doing the ground transfers. It can be cheaper to rent a car, especially for the short cruises. You can even include parking and it still becomes cheaper. Or you could rent it from with an airport pickup and a cruise port drop off. There is an Enterprise right there as well. So lots of different options, and your travel advisor will help you determine the best one.
And Crissi, a couple of questions for you on this.
Any questions?
You for 3 quick questions. So when do you recommend people get in for their cruise?
So I definitely recommend flying in the night before if you're flying. And I have my next slide kind of talking about whether if you're flying in just 1 night before, 2 nights before, 3 nights before, kind of like where to stay and what to do. But absolutely fly in the night before. If your only option is to fly in that morning, some people that is if you're really far or something like that, then just the earliest possible arrival that morning to plan for delays. But if at all possible, fly in the night before. Give yourself that hotel to get settled. If your flight gets delayed, it's okay. We've got 24 hours to get there in time, and everything will be okay. And then on the way back, please make sure that you book a flight no earlier than 12:30 in the afternoon, not midnight.
Yes, you do not want to have to rush through, even with TSA pre-check.
Any other
You don't
questions?
have to rush through security at MCO. And then another question for you is, what makes Disney transfers so special? I know why I love them, but from your point of view, from your client's point of view, what makes them so awesome?
My favorite part is not touching my bags. That is my favorite part. You get them off the carousel and that's it. Now your bags are magically in your stateroom. You don't need to lug them onto the hotel, the what do they call it? Underneath the bus?
Yeah.
the underneath the bus.
Yes.
Storage area. That's where it is. And you don't need to get it out to get it onto the ship. It's all set up for you. That's my favorite part. The other nice benefit is that when you book Disney ground transportation, you are now, that it becomes your port arrival time. So there's a lot of stress when you do your online check-in to pick the earliest possible port arrival time so that you're the first on the ship and it's so special. But when you're booking with ground transportation, you will automatically be in one of those earlier boarding groups as long as you get on the first bus leaving the airport, or when you're picked up from your Disney resort as well. The Disney ground transfers do also pick up at Disney hotels as well.
Awesome. And then last question for you on this one. You mentioned car seats. If I've got a little one who needs a car seat, is this something that I should bring with me on the ship? I know we get a lot of questions about excursions and do I need to bring a car seat for the excursion if we have to get on a bus? So as far as getting there, do you recommend bringing a car seat or is that something that Disney has ready for you?
So I hard pass on the car seats. So for the transportation from the airport to the hotel, either using Disney's ground transfers and you'll be just fine. Or if you are booking a private car service like Away We Go, they will bring a car seat for you. And then during excursions, Disney will not allow littles on any transportation that is not suitable. So if the minimum age requirement is 3, that means that the transportation will accommodate that 3-year-old. That is why some excursions have a higher minimum age requirement than you would think, purely for those transportation purposes. I do recommend bringing a single stroller. That's going to make your day much better and easier for your kiddo. But the car seat, you don't need to bring that. Leave that at home.
Yes, agreed. And then you have to store it in the stateroom and there's already not a lot of space. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
No, thank you.
What's next?
All righty. So our next one is where to stay. And I don't know, my pictures aren't loading. Oh, that's a sad day. I have cute pictures. Where are they? Well, you'll have to use your imaginations, but they're on there though. I don't know. Let me see if I switch back to my previous slide. Let's see if they'll come back. I don't know. I have cute pictures of a Disney World Resort and also at Holiday Inn Resort at the Port.
Oh man.
But we do also get this question all the time in the group, all the time. Yes, we get this question all the time in the group about where to stay. And we do have a full list of recommended hotels on our DCL community blog. So you can always check that out from there and you can book directly from there too. My personal top favorite way to stay when I travel to Port Canaveral is one of 2 options. If I'm flying in for just one night prior to the cruise and I'm arriving at kind of dinner time-ish or later, I like to just stay at the airport. And I like to book that through Disney Cruise Line. You can also, of course, book, this is the Hyatt Regency MCO. If you book it individually, then you do want to call Disney Cruise Line and let them know your reservation number and then book your ground transfers with Disney Cruise Line. But you can also book this directly through Disney Cruise Line. And then it's super seamless. You'll get your bags off the baggage carousel. You'll go up to your room for your perfect evening. They'll pick your bags up for you from your room. It's amazing. And you'll be on the bus to the port the next morning without ever having to go outside in the Florida mugginess. It's great. But another option, if I'm arriving, did that make you laugh at Florida mugginess?
Yes.
Another option, though, if I'm arriving the night before my cruise, but earlier in the day, I like to stay at a Disney World resort, and that gives me the opportunity to have a pool day and have a nice dinner at my resort, and also maybe even see fireworks that night too. And all without leaving my resort, right? That really depends on which Disney resort you book, what restaurants are on site, what views types you have, and it just creates a really nice seamless start. And then the Disney bus will pick you up in the morning straight from there to take you to the cruise port. So this is a really great option if you have one night, even 2 nights, but really one night, but you're getting there early. I don't super recommend this if you're getting there late at night, right? You just don't have enough time to get the full benefit of it. You could look at staying at one of Disney's value resorts that night and then get picked up in the morning. But you still have to get from the airport to your Disney resort hotel. Disney used to have a service for that included with a Disney resort hotel. They do not anymore. So you still have to arrange that part of the transportation yourself. Your agent will help you, but there's outside companies that do it. But it does create that little gap. So if I'm arriving the night before and I don't have a whole ton of time to like actually really enjoy my day, I'm just going to stay at the airport. But if I'm arriving a few days before, I like to stay by the port. And again, we do have an amazing list of hotels over by the port. We've got Radisson Resort at the port, Holiday Inn Vacation Club, and Embassy Suites. There's several options out there, all at varying like price points and amenity levels. My personal favorite is the Holiday Inn Vacation Club. It's awesome. It's like pretty like ship views coming in. It's my personal favorite out of the options that we recommend. But there's amazing, lots of different things down there. And I have a whole slide next of things to do.
I love it.
Oops, I'm on here. Here we go. Boom. Check it out. I made a chart.
I love it.
So there's lots of things to do in the Port Canaveral area. And these ones here in gray are ways to kind of extend your trip. They're not in the Port Canaveral area. So you would be looking at extending your trip with hotel accommodations nearby and then shuttle to port that morning. So my first one, this like quick visits or just like dining. And there are like thousands of activities, like thousands. And your travel advisor will help you find all kinds of different things, but you can do see them on Viator, you can see them on TripAdvisor, all kinds of fun things. These are all things that I have personally done and personally absolutely love and want to do again. So the first one in like my quick visits for dining, these are my top 3, but there's like a whole row of restaurants that can view the ships coming in and have outdoor dining and indoor if you don't want to be in the Florida mugginess. But that's like Rusty's, Gators, and Grills. Grills is my favorite all the way. That's the kind of all the way at the end. I just think it has the best views. That's all. Golf and Gator is really fun. It's like a round of mini golf, and there are live gators there too, which are fun. And then this one is like I feel like not a lot of people know about Florida Key Lime Pie Company, but it's a super sweet little like destination spot. They have more than just pie. They've got all kinds of different desserts, and they have rums there too. And they do typically offer samples of their key lime pie, like as if it was an ice cream parlor. You can get like just a little sample.
Oh, that's cool.
For a quick visit. And then I made a list of kind of half-day activities. And these are things that you would want to book. So the lighthouse tour, you can see the lighthouses from the port. And I did put like a little asterisk next to it because it is like you do have to have a tour booked. A lot of people think you can just show up, but you do have to have a guide because this is technically on military property. So you do need to have it's like within the like Air Force Kennedy Space Center complex. And so it's important to make sure that you do book that one in advance. The other things you can honestly like wait till you get there. There's all kinds of different boat tours. And one of the things that's really new, this just started. So riverboat tours during the day, you can rent kayaks, paddle boats, be on a motorboat and have a guide. There's so many different little boating tours at Banana River, but now they're doing them at night and it is so cool. It's become a really fun bioluminescent tour. There are some tour operators doing them with the like glass kayak, or not glass. They're not glass. They're acrylic, but they're clear kayaks. So you can like see right below you. It just looks like you're floating on the water while you're paddling. So cool. The Manatee Sanctuary is also a really fun visit. And this one, honestly, I put it in the half-day category because it's at minimum a half day, not a quick visit. You could make this a full day if you wanted it to. You could, combine the Manatee Sanctuary and the Key Lime Pie Company. That would be an easy full day for sure. And then the last thing that I just did this actually just 2 weeks ago while I was in Port Canaveral for the day, is there's a company renting slingshots out of the Hilton at Port Canaveral. And it was so much fun. Slingshots are like motorized tricycles, basically. They have like 2 wheels in the front and 1 in the back, so you can like sit next to each other. And they have all kinds, 2-seaters, 4-seaters, 6-seaters. So much fun. We rented them for 2 hours, drove around. They gave us a route to tour, to drive through some like really beautiful areas that had water on both sides and like crazy cool houses. And that was absolutely just one of the most fun times we've had. And it's a super easy tour to book.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was tons of fun. This video is coming soon. And then I listed some full day activities right here in Port Canaveral. There's a lot of fishing tours, and I put these under a full day, not half day, because most of the time the minimum on these fishing tours is going to be about 4 hours. So it's technically half day, but that's like 4 hours actually on the boat. So it's really going to take up most of your day. doing a beach day. Cocoa Beach and Jetty Park are my like kind of top two areas that I send my clients to if they just want to hang at the beach. And then Kennedy Space Center. And this one really like you need a full day. Some people even like to go for 2 days. And it's good to have a plan when you get there, like kind of what activities you want to do first. Make sure that you book your bus tour. It's free, but you got to like get a reservation when you get there so that you can see the Saturn V building. So it's important to have a plan. It's a fun place to go, but you definitely want to give yourself that full day to really see everything. And then just a note also that if their hours may be affected, if there is a rocket launch too, to keep that in mind. It's a fun bonus, but you always want to be mindful of their calendar.
Yes.
And then I put these things in gray as other full day activities or 2 full days or 3+ full days. These are not in Port Canaveral. I'd like to make that very clear. They are closer to City of Orlando. If you have a full day, I love doing a full day at Discovery Cove or SeaWorld before I set sail on Disney Cruise Line. One or the other, not both, if I have one full day. And then another option, and I, as an agent, get this a lot. My kids love Disney, but they really just want to see Harry Potter too. Like, how do we make that happen? And a Disney Cruise Line vacation is a great way to make that happen. Just arrive like kind of 2 nights, so you have 1 full day before your cruise. And you can do Universal Orlando. You need a 2 park-to-park ticket for 1 day, and you can do just Wizarding World in 1 day. It's a busy day, and you gotta go in there with the mindset of like, I'm ignoring everything here that's not Harry Potter. And then you can absolutely do Wizarding World in 1 day. Cast all your spells, do all your magic, and then get on the ship and have a magical rest of your vacation. Lots of fun. And then if you're doing 2 full days, now you can do Discovery Cove and SeaWorld. You could do Universal Orlando. They have 2 theme parks, and they're right next to each other. Super easy to do in 2 days. And now you can do all of the Harry Potter and also all of the other coasters and shows and experiences, and then get on your cruise and relax. And then you could also do the Disney theme parks. If you've got 2 days, I would suggest picking 2 parks. You could certainly park hop and try to squeeze in more than 2, but I think the best bang for your buck and value for your time would be to pick your 2 favorite, or to do one of your favorite, twice, like 2 days at Magic Kingdom and then get on the ship. If you have 3 full days, you could do Discovery Cove, SeaWorld, and Aquatica, which is their water park. You could do Orlando theme parks and water parks, or you could pick 3 Disney theme parks. All really great ways to have a vacation that is longer than just your Disney cruise, and really take advantage of sailing out of Port Canaveral with all the awesome things in Orlando. Another one that's not on this list, only because it is an option. I have my first client doing it next month, is Legoland. Is totally also kind of like a 1 day thing. And then they just opened a new Peppa Pig area as well. And that could make it like a 2 day thing. But I'm still tinkering with exactly how much time that is going to need.
Yeah, I love that. Do we have some time for some questions quick?
Of course, yes.
Awesome. Okay. So we talked about boarding the ground transportation for getting there before. So when do you pick the ground transportation? Is that something you do right when you book your cruise?
So you can do it as well. It depends on when you book your cruise. Like if you book really early, for instance, the 2024 wasn't available to book the ground transportation as soon as the 2024 itineraries were out, but it is now. So we can add it to your cruise once it's booked. If you are past final payment, then we can add it to your cruise, but it does need to be paid at the time that we add it. If you're before final payment, then it just gets added onto your total cruise cost. That's all. And that's the same thing with hotels too. You'll get the pricing from Disney Cruise Line, and they'll add it. It'll just become part of your Disney Cruise Line vacation package. Also includes a hotel the night before as well.
Yes, I love that. They make it so seamless. And then if we stay at Disney but drive our car, do we qualify to get early, like an early port arrival time on the ship? And I guess to that note, if you drive to Disney, can you leave your car at Disney and take the ground transfers, or do you have to take your car with you?
Yeah, so if you drive yourself to your Disney Resort Hotel, Disney resorts do have free parking. But what you need to do is you need to let them know that you are a Disney Cruise Line guest. And then you can leave your car there at the resort. That is absolutely fine. And then you can book the Disney Cruise Line ground transfers. And then, yes, you would have the like early booking. You would arrive, board the ship when your bus arrives. If you are not using ground transfers, the only way to get on the ship as early as possible is to be right in there at online check-in immediately at 12 o'clock midnight. Be ready. Cross your fingers that Disney Tech works for you, and pick that earliest port arrival time.
Yes.
Yeah,
and just so everybody knows, if you don't get the earliest port arrival time,
no
if
big
you're in
deal.
group 10, if you're in group 15, like you're going to be fine. You just get on a little bit
Yeah.
later. I promise you, it goes so fast once you're there. I mean, they fly through the boarding groups, and don't worry, they're not going to run out of mac and cheese and Mickey bars. I promise. I promise. And recommendations for Disney Springs Hotel. Do you have one of those?
Oh, I do have a recommendation. So personally, and not just personally, but for all of my clients, I like the Hilton Buena Vista Palace. It's got the best pool. It's got the best, great pricing. I mean, Disney Springs hotels, I'll be frank, it's like generally they're all so close together. They're all walkable to Disney Springs. And because of that, they're all going to be at a fairly similar price point just because they're all in such direct competition with each other. But for that reason, you can really look at the amenities and choose the ones that best suit your family's needs. And generally the like lazy river in the pool, short walk to Disney Springs, kind of makes Hilton, like Buena Vista Palace, the top pick for most of my clients, their families. If you're just totally alone, I've booked the B, or not alone, like adults only. I've booked the B Resort as well. And that one, it's just, they don't have as like child-friendly amenities. It's certainly not an adults-only resort, but because of that, it's just less popular with families of little kiddos. So sometimes adults-only couples prefer that one.
Got it. Good to know. And I know we've been talking about some of the Disney properties and the cruise line. Do they have a land and sea package option? I know they used to. Do they have that anymore?
They did used to, and it's not something that they have really anymore. You really, like, if you want to do the parks, then you would end up looking at as two separate packages. If you're looking for just a hotel stay prior to your cruise, then you can book that through Disney Cruise Line. But if you want to add theme park tickets, then you would end up doing two separate packages.
Awesome. And do you recommend booking airfare through Disney or booking that separately?
I always recommend calling Disney Cruise Line and seeing what they have to offer. It's, like, why not, right? But then you do want to make sure that you book the airfare that works best for you. So many of my clients have either points with the airline, or they have, you won't be able to use those if you book through Disney Cruise Line, or they have, a status with something, or sometimes Disney only has certain airlines that they partner with for your airport. I live in a small, like, regional airport, and so it just never works in my benefit, but it's always good to see what Disney pricing is. The benefit to booking, Disney does have two options. There's the flexible fare, which is adjustable and refundable, which, if you book directly with an airline, they're almost never refundable. And so then you have time to pay off your flight over the course of your cruise, as opposed to having to pay it all at once if you book directly with an airline.
Awesome. And then, oh gosh, I had another question for you on airlines. It'll come back to me. But do you recommend doing, if somebody's planning their vacation,
Great.
and they're thinking, okay, well, I could do 2 days at the front end and then my cruise, or I can do my cruise and then 2 days on the back end. Which do you recommend?
So personally, I recommend to do them at the front end, for a lot of reasons. One, because the ship is leaving on that day. And so if you book your stuff, on the front end, now you've just got extra time, get as much done as you can, and then you know exactly what's happening with the ship. And so everything's consistent from there on out. If you book it on the time that you come back, now you have to make sure your flight is arriving in time. You still need to book a hotel the night before. So it just ends up with, like, kind of more travel planning if you book your activities after the cruise. Especially though, when you're looking at Port Canaveral, you do have those 3 and 4 night sailings. So I also don't totally rule out the idea of doing, like, land and sea and then land again, and doing kind of like 2 nights, a 3-night cruise, and then 2 nights, at land, and kind of exploring Port Canaveral area for 1 night before the cruise, getting off at the ship and doing, like, 1 day in a theme parky type area, and then getting on a plane too. All things, can work. But typically, if you're just kind of looking to do one big chunk of the land activity, I would recommend doing it prior to sailing, just so that when you get on the ship, that's how your vacation ends. It's going to be so smooth and relaxing, and just a really great time. But both ways are possible.
And I know we're talking about so many options right now. This is something you can help
Mhm.
your clients with, right? Pricing out airlines and hotels and cruises and kind of putting this puzzle of vacation together, right? You don't just handle the cruise, you can do it all.
Absolutely, yes. So I absolutely handle every step of the process. The only part that I don't book personally is privately booked flights. I will monitor pricing for my clients, and I will provide you parameters of like, hey, you need to arrive by this time and leave no earlier than this time. But I do have my clients book their own flights directly with the airline, unless we are adding them to their Disney Cruise Line package.
Good
But
to know.
I'll book your pre-night hotel, I'll book your Disney World tickets, and I'll plan out your Disney World park days and make sure you meet all the characters you want to meet and do all the rides you want to do. Same thing with Universal and SeaWorld too, which brings me to my next slide. And I do have a little bit of a hint that I have already hinted at this with my outfit choice and bow choice. I don't know if you guys can see it, but can anybody
Love it.
guess what is Chrissy's favorite vacation? Because that is my bonus slide.
I mean, it's
I'll
gotta
let you guys guess in the comments before I move to the next slide.
I have my
Anybody?
guesses, and
Oh, oh, Rebecca, what is your guess?
it's gotta be a Disney cruise, right? No?
Oh, it's of course a Disney cruise, but not just a Disney cruise.
Guys, help me out.
Bonus slide. Chrissy's favorite trip is a short Disney cruise. And it is Friday to Monday at SeaWorld and Discovery Cove. And then doing a Monday to Friday on the Disney Wish. Now, previously, the Disney Dream was doing that Monday to Friday itinerary. This is my favorite vacation for a lot of reasons. One, because Discovery Cove is my favorite place to snorkel. And I love to kind of get that snorkeling experience done before I get on a ship. So now I feel like I can explore Nassau walking around. I don't need to like schedule a beach day. And then at Castaway, I can snorkel again if I want to, because there is no sunken Minnie Mouse at Discovery Cove, unfortunately, just 9-foot rays. Like I've just already gotten that snorkeling done. So now I feel like I have so much more time to just enjoy other things when I have my beach days. And then I love doing a day at SeaWorld for like extreme coasters. That's my favorite part of SeaWorld. And I love the shows. And then in the summertime, they have fireworks too, which is nice. This is an easy trip. I can leave Friday after my husband's done with work. Where we live in Virginia, it's a 2-hour flight, so we can still make it that night and then have Saturday, Sunday at SeaWorld and Discovery Cove, and then transfer to the ship on Monday, get off the ship on Friday, and now we have the whole weekend at home to, before we need to go back to work. And that's my favorite
I
vacation.
love that.
Using
That's
all the
such
benefits
good
of sailing out of
planning. Oh, I love that. And that's such a good way to I know everybody always says they need a vacation from their vacation. That's a good way to kind of build in those buffer days before you've got to get back to reality.
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome.
Mhm.
And another question for you, just going back to some of the planning of this. So I know you mentioned the
Yeah.
Kennedy Space Center and if there's a rocket launch, is that something that people
Mhm.
are aware of ahead of time? So if, let's say you're driving in, you know that you have to leave a certain amount earlier, or are those kind of
So
last
it's
minute?
something that you they're well, they're both. So they're scheduled, but then if the conditions aren't perfect, they could get canceled or delayed. You do want to make sure that you're monitoring for updates. So if you're planning on going to Kennedy for the day, it's important to check the launch schedule. If you'd like to see a launch, you want to be checking the launch schedule a couple months in advance and know when they are, but also know that they are not guaranteed. I think Elon Musk said at one point, like, there's 1,000 ways that a rocket could launch and only one of them is correct. So there's a lot of ways, that reasons why it could get delayed. Any adjustments in weather, anything, conditions aren't nominal, which sounds scary, but that's the word for perfect conditions. When you're watching a rocket launch, you want everything to be nominal in this quiet voice. If conditions aren't nominal, the launch will get scrubbed and delayed to the next setting, the next available opportunity. So it is quite likely, if you have never even considered rocket launching and have no idea, they're not like super mainstream public knowledge. So it is possible that you could be driving into port and have no idea why there's a bajillion people trying to be here at 3 a.m, or, at some bizarre time. Sometimes they're really early in the morning. Sometimes they're right smack in the middle of the day. So since they're not super broadcasted, it is something that I always kind of advise my clients, hey, by the way, plan extra time for your drive. And if you are trying to see one, there are countless websites that track them, predict the viability of them. And then if you do purchase admission to Kennedy, there are private, extra paid viewing areas for the launch that you can pay to be a little bit closer. But if you want to watch the launch while you're in Kennedy, you can absolutely do that. It's totally free. And oftentimes Kennedy will, if the launch is at 7, Kennedy doesn't normally open till 9 a.m. They will open early for guests with a full day ticket to be inside and, on the property and secure before the launch starts.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I need to get out there. I've done so many cruises from Port Canaveral, but we personally always stay near the airport and do the transfers. But now I feel like I need to stay at Port Canaveral just so I can do all of these things.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome.
There's so much fun stuff to do down there.
Who knew? Guys, I am learning with you all on this. I'm so excited for my next Port Canaveral cruise. Not that I wasn't before, but now I'm really excited. So a couple more questions for you. When I book on release day, do I need to know which deck I want or location? Or is that something, Crissi, that you can kind of help Valentina and her family through?
Absolutely. If you're working with an agent, you would want to talk with your agent about what you're looking for in your stateroom. So, if you want a room that's quieter, then you probably want to look at a deck like 7 through 9 on most Disney ships. So you'll have nothing above and below you except staterooms, right? That makes, you don't have as much walking above you. And you want a deck that's not like in the main cross traffic of the elevators, or not a deck, a location along the deck. If you're looking to have maximum convenience and also minimum movement, you want to be in the midship areas. But really, every Disney ship is built to maximize convenience for everybody and make sure that there's really not a bad stateroom. So if you have no idea what you're booking, absolutely reach out to an agent and talk with us about what you're looking for, what's going to make or break your cruise. And if you're somebody that needs a specific stateroom, talk to your agent and make sure that we select that specific stateroom for you. There are some that are kind of great. Some that are just a little bit bigger than others, or some that have unusual layouts that might really help your family.
I was going to say, we got put in one. Our family could care less about which stateroom we're in. We just want to be on the ship. And there was one stateroom we got put in that was like a back corner stateroom. It was huge. It was wonderful. It was just like the most ridiculous layout, it felt like, but it was awesome. And we would have never known that room without a travel agent.
Yeah.
So definitely worth reaching out. And sorry, Crissi, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just looking through for more questions. So I see another question about what the weather is like in October in Port Canaveral, which is like such a good question because it could be anything, frankly. So in Port Canaveral, generally year round, it is warmer than most cities, but with the exception of they do have like a week of winter in December. Usually in October, you're looking at 60s through low 80s, not high 80s, like low 80s. Some rain, some wind. It is coastal, so it is windier than when you're all the way inland in Orlando. But frankly, beautiful. And, depending on where you are in California, it honestly might be similar, just more humid.
Yes, agreed. And what about that next one? If you drive to Disney World and then cruise and leave your car at the hotel, how much is transportation to the port?
Oh, gotcha. So transportation to the port in that case would be the same as if you were booking it from the airport. It's still $39 per person each way if you were to book it through Disney Cruise Line. But of course, you also have all the other options I listed of using Lyft or using a private car company. The only kind of non-option that you wouldn't have would be trying to book a hotel shuttle, because that would be the DCL ground transfer. The Disney hotels wouldn't have a privately run shuttle like some other hotels might.
Yes, and I love those ground transfers. I mean, it's just like Crissi said, it's so seamless for you. I know it can definitely get expensive if you're traveling with a larger party, but it's just like magic from start to finish. You get on board the bus and the team is so friendly. They got that Disney magic. There's usually like Disney trivia or Disney movies that play, and the seats are so gosh darn comfortable. I don't know what material they use, but good for napping after a day of travel. Let me tell you that.
Absolutely. And getting also just napping. It's like hard for me I can nap on the way to the airport, but napping on the way to the cruise, I'll start. And then I get so excited, like, hold on, I don't want to miss seeing the ship. Wait, I got to see everything.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yes. When you go over that second hill or that second bridge and you can just see the top of the ship poking out, the peak of happiness. Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
Well, if you guys
Getting
have
to start to
any
see
other
steam
questions,
the steam shots. Yes.
oh, right. But if you guys have any other questions, that is the link to Crissi's page on the DCL community website. Like I said, her planning services are totally free for you to use. So let her be that resource for you. There's a lot of moving pieces here, whether you're traveling from Port Canaveral or any of the other ports. So let her help you kind of put those pieces of the puzzle together so that all the stress of planning is not just falling on you. And I know, Crissi, last question for you before we go. I know we've talked a lot about Port Canaveral tonight since that was the theme, but are the other ports just as good? Am I going to have a good experience at the other ports if I travel out of
Absolutely.
Lauderdale?
So one, thing about Port Canaveral is that it is like not the most convenient port. So personally, I love sailing out of either Miami or Fort Lauderdale because they're only like 10 minutes from the airport. It's amazing.
So close.
And there's still great beaches. Disney also sails out of Galveston and out of Manhattan seasonally, and then out of San Diego as well, and then also out of Vancouver for Alaska. And all of those ports are phenomenal. Galveston, you do need to make sure you have a plan because Galveston is the furthest port that Disney sails from an airport. So really keep that in mind. Work with an agent that knows what they're doing to make sure that you are seamlessly connected to your sailing experience from either Hobby or Houston Airport.
Awesome.
But all of the Disney's ports are wonderful, and you want to just talk with your agent, figure out what activities you want to do, and we'll make that work prior to your cruise for sure.
I love that. Yes, Vancouver is one on my list. One of my coworkers actually sailed on the Alaska cruise last week, and she was staying in the Pan Pacific, where you can look down and see the ship from your hotel room. So cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's worth it for sure.
Man, and if you guys are wondering about Alaska, Crissi and I did a whole one of these events on just Alaska sailings. I'll find that link and put it in the comments too. It's, oh my gosh, so good. We'll make you want to book an Alaskan cruise. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We hope that this has inspired you to book your next Disney cruise vacation. Crissi, thank you so much for your time and all of your knowledge, and we will see all of you on board. Bye all.